Hello, everybody. This is Black and Teal giving you a West Coast Conference basketball play for Thursday, January 2nd, 2014. Um, we have in this game Pepperdine catching 5 points at UC Santa Clara. Just to recap my record, I am 11, 11, and 1 this season. Kind of righted the ship the last 4 or 5 games, missed a couple, but got myself in some good spots, and I like where the record's going. Definitely learning a lot, and we're going to put a lot of this to use later on in the season. So, for my first good hard stab at college basketball, I really like where it's going. So, this is my third time this season writing up Pepperdine. I'm going to try as hard as possible not to take them or fade them out of familiarity bias or confirmation bias. And a lot of times, when people bet on teams, they know the local team very well, or they know their favorite team or their alma mater very well, or maybe they love betting on a team or they love fading a team. I'm going to really try hard with this write up and in general not to do that. And so it's best to specialize in a sport like college basketball where there are hundreds and hundreds of teams. But with that being said, I'm more familiar with Pepperdine, not as familiar with UC Santa Clara. But I'm not just going to take Pepperdine here because I've written them up a couple times. And I actually, the first time I wrote them up, I faded them against Washington State, and they did lose outright, and they did lose against the spread. Excuse me. So, with that being said, their most recent game against BYU was a very impressive home performance. They were 7-point dogs, and they won by 6, so they had a 13-point cover. It was an aerial assault. They hit 13 three-pointers, and they were led in scoring by Malcolm Brooks, who is the WCC Player of the Week for the second week in a row, who went 6 for 9 behind the arc. I really like where this team is going right now. They recently got back guard Amadi Adeni, who's back from injury. His knee injury, he was missed about 10 games, but he was in double figures the last game against BYU. So, they've got a critical bit of depth there, and the guy can score. So, from a defensive standpoint, if you're going to go against Pepperdine, it all starts with guard Jeremy Major. But if you take away his ability to dribble, drive, get to the basket, he can always kick it out to Brooks, or he can get it inside to the post to either Brendan Lane or Stacey Davis. Those two together, probably the best, or if not one of the best, front courts in the West Coast Conference. So as far as a balance standpoint and a post standpoint, I really, really like Pepperdine in this spot. So as far as the situation goes, this is the first game in a 4-game road stretch for Pepperdine. Santa Clara, of course, at home, and they've got Loyola Marymount on deck. When it comes to the inside game, both teams rebound at similar clips, but from a balance standpoint, I really give the clear advantage to the Waves and senior forward Brendan Lane. He's a UCLA transfer. He'll be a serious contender for WCC Newcomer of the Year. He's averaging 15 points, 8 rebounds, and he leads the West Coast Conference with 2.4 blocks per game. So, like I said, along with Stacey Davis, I really, really like their front court. Santa Clara, though, they've got an impressive guard trio of Brownridge, Rockmore, and Clark, and they do have a good assist-to-turnover ratio, 1.32 to 1. I look at that number, but I look at another number when I look at assist-to-turnover ratio. You look at I look at possessions, and I look at field goal percentage. And okay, they're taking care of the ball. That's wonderful. But if they're not shooting as well, then they're not taking advantage of those extra possessions that they're creating by not turning the ball over or for getting assists. And so I think the biggest stat of this game is on aggregate, Pepperdine shoots 48%, and Santa Clara shoots 43%. So yeah, they take care of the ball, but they don't shoot very well, which is a problem. They played the tougher schedule. They are a little bit better defensively. But Pepperdine, great spread team. This year, they are 6-1 against the spread on the road. Their lone loss was the game against Washington State, and Washington State has some pretty damn good guards. So I really like this spot here. The dimension of the team, I like the fact that they are deep, that they are now able, with a little bit of guard depth, they can play on the perimeter, they can get it inside, they can dribble drive, and if they need Major to take control and get 20 points, he can do that. So they're fresh and ready for it, and I think catching 5 points is a little too many for them. I really like them to cover here. I think there's a very good chance that they could win this outright, but for the sake of being fair and being reasonable, I'm going to give a prediction here: Pepperdine 74, Santa Clara 75. Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know what you think at Black and Teal. That's at Black, the letter N, Teal. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year.